The SitRep podcast is sponsored by Black Site Studio, the creators of incredible pre-colored terrain. Whether you're looking for terrain in 28 or 15 millimeter, they have a wide selection just for you. No matter the type of game, Black Site Studio has exactly what you are looking for. They have new releases all the time, and their catalog continues to grow. So the next time you're considering new terrain, jump over to Black Site Studio, and you will find just what you need. Remember to let them know you heard from us. Black Site Studio, the official sponsors of the SitRep podcast. You are listening to the SitRep Podcast, your home for everything related to modern wargaming. Whether it's reviews, rules analysis, play-by-plays, hobby time, or even gameplay videos, we will bring it all to you. And now for your hosts. From England, we have Ralph. From the Great White North of Canada, Chris. Our historical editor, Big Jim Oriskany, and G, both from the United States. And now, sit back, relax, and get ready for the ultimate ride into modern wargaming. Hello, everybody. This is G, and you're listening to the SitRep Podcast, your home for everything modern military gaming. Today, at the command table, it's going to be a light team. It's myself and Ralph from England. Ralph, how are you doing today? Excellent. So everybody else is out on R&R or some other mission. Jim is taking a well-deserved break. He's out seeing the fishes at SeaWorld, I think he said he was going to this weekend. Marty is playing in the Dust Tournament at Polar Vortex, which is a local gaming convention here in Chicago. And Gaz is out in a pub somewhere, so when I find him, I'm going to sock him in the nose because, you know, he's not sharing. And Chris up in Canada, he's still kind of MIA, and I'm hoping we can track him down and get him back on the team. So in the meantime, it's just myself and Ralph, and we are going to take you through some adventures today in modern military gaming. So I thought the first thing we could talk about is the starter set from Spectre Miniatures. The reason being is that we got a set here in the studio, and it's going to be a giveaway prize to some lucky winner. Now, to be able to qualify for this, you have to either be a subscriber on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, or on our Twitch channel, or a Patreon subscriber. So how this works is you get one entry for Facebook, one entry for YouTube, one entry for Twitch. You'll get two entries for Twitch if you're an actual subscriber, paid subscription. Over on Patreon, you will get an additional entry if you're a supporter member. If you're at the team member, you will get two entries, and if you're at our producer level, you will get three entries. So technically speaking, you could get 6 entries if you're at the top level of everything, as a chance to win the starter set. So bad news. Bad news is if you really, 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 really want a starter set right now, you are SOL because they are sold out. But okay, so we love the guys and gals over at Spectre Miniatures. Love them to death. Steven, Jess, and Matt, love them to death. You know, and people need to understand it's a 3-person, technically a 2-person setup because Matt is more the rules writer and consultant, and he has a regular job that makes him travel all over the world doing what it is he does. So it's Steven and Jess doing, the business side of it. So, Steven's sculpting the minis and all that. They just farmed out vehicles to an outside source to have them manufactured because they just couldn't keep up with the demand. When they're pouring resin and all that, which is a great thing a great problem to have when your stuff is in such high demand that it's selling out. On the other side of the coin, though. And I get this a lot from messages from people on our Facebook page or private messenger. Why is it that Spectre's always sold out? And I think it's frustrating a few people, and it may be driving away some business, that they normally could have. People are starting to go to like Empress and some of these other companies, which is good for those companies, but it's lost revenue for Spectre. and I know they're trying to address it. I want people who's listening to this to understand that they know what's going on and they're not oblivious to this. But granted, like the starter set, it's a great gateway into the game and the system. I don't know if they didn't plan the demand to be that high, or but they said it was going to be a limited release. I have problems with limited releases. Reason being, I mean, it's okay to have a limited release for a special miniature for like a convention. A nice little, like the, whatever miniature they have for certain conventions. That's fine. It's a little bonus. If you're taking the time, effort, and money to go to the convention, sure, you should get something special. However, for a starter set, I would not have made it a limited release. You want people to play your game. You want people to buy your minis. And giving them a set that gets them into it and hooked, and then they start wanting more and more, like the vehicles and other teams and terrain and stuff, make it available to everybody. I mean, it's a great price point. I think it's £50, or it was sold at £50. And you and I kind of added up quickly in our heads that if you bought those pieces individually, it would be roughly somewhere between £54-52. So is it? Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they're doing a lot of they're doing a lot of Vietnam right now. But yeah. Uh-huh. Which technical? Yeah, I've been looking at that. That one's still available for order right now. I just looked. Oh, is it? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yep. Well, I know a lot of people would like that. There's uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. And it could have been there to help move some of the other models that weren't moving individually, which is always a good thing to do. However, I honestly think we need to have them develop a true starter set, and if this is what they're going to do, and I thought it was a great set. I, looked at it, and it's a great gateway in, and the price point was nice. So, okay, so they say you save 20 pounds. So raise the price 15 more pounds and say you save 5 pounds by buying this. I don't know what their overhead is versus, cost versus profit. And obviously you need to still make it profitable. But even at 65 pounds, it's a great deal. Even at 70 pounds, even if he sold it at 70 pounds, it's still a great deal. And people are more tend to buy more starter sets than individual pieces. Unless you're people like us who likes to get the rule book, read through the rule books, and go, oh, this is good, and then I'll buy minis, right? There's a lot of people out there who aren't in that frame of mind, and they hear people talk about how great this game is, and they want to buy an easy intro into the game, and a starter set is the way you do it. I mean, look at GW. GW does it all the time. Every other month they're putting out a new quote unquote starter set, right? So, and some of it's just using old sculpts, and yet they put out a new starter set and people buy it up. It's sold out all the time. Wild West Exodus puts out a starter set. Mantix Games, they have starter sets. So any of the name brand companies out there that are starting to be mainstream games, if you will, have a starter set because it's how you'll get into the game. Even obscure games, heck, Harry Potter Miniatures has a starter set. So and was it Crisis Protocol has a starter set. So you want people to play your game, give them a starter set. Get their foot in the door, get them hooked on the excitement, and then they'll come back and buy other stuff. So that's, from a business aspect, that is the way to go. And, again, I love these people to death, and I wish them nothing but success. But I know I've had people reaching out to us all the time going, why are these minis always sold out? And I remind them it's a very small family operation. It's not a big company. It's not like Fantasy Flight. Oh, we should talk about them, too. But yeah, I mean, they have some amazing miniatures. We started our 13 days, 13 hours project this past week. Actually, a week from Thursday. But I hope everybody got a chance. If you have not seen it yet, go on YouTube or Facebook, and you can check out the broadcast from Thursday night when we did Present Arms, our hobby night. And we have a new setup. We have multiple cameras going, close-up cams, wide cams, and it was great interaction. It was a really fun night. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, definitely check it in. We plan on doing that much more in the future. And we want to get you guys involved in it. So, please, if you are able to, check in with us. I think Gaz is going to do, well, by the time this is aired, he will have done it a week prior, but he's going to be broadcasting as well. So, yeah, but to the guys in Spectre, it's a really nice set. Really looking forward to the minis. The minis paint up nice. If you didn't see the broadcast from Thursday night, you definitely have to check it out because I started painting one guy thinking it was Roan, the leader, and I went, shit, it's not. I was painting up Tig because I started painting. I'm looking at the weapon going, that doesn't look like an M4. Crap, that's a saw. So, I had to do some quick change, and I message Jim, and Jim goes, well, I'll change it in his graphics because we're trying to color coordinate the minis to his game pieces, so for his phase. And then I'm painting up the miniature we had picked for Roan, and I primed it, and I'm looking at the back, and get ready to paint it. I'm like, that looks like a braided ponytail, and I went, why? It was the female operator. I totally forgot they were female operators. So a little quick, buzz of the Dremel, braid gone, and Roan is, corrected, I guess, if you will. So, yeah. So it was a very entertaining night. A lot of good hobbying going on, a lot of good conversation. Dawn was running the control board, and it was fun trying to teach her how to switch things and set things up while we're doing the broadcast. And Marty was, having a good time. So it was a lot of good banter going on back and forth. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Oh, they don't have that. You know what? I don't think I've ever really looked at the SWAT guys because I no, I guess you're right. They only have, yeah, you got a shotgun. Says an SMG. I'm not sure exactly what that is. You got Bravo team, which, well, I guess I should enlarge it so I can take a look. All right, so you got guys with the M4s. That's the Bravo team. You have this shotgun. It looks like a bullpup shotgun. They call it a Kel-Tec KSG shotgun, which is, we don't use those. I'm not familiar with any SWAT unit that would use a Kel-Tec. Most of ours are going to be Mossbergs or Remington 870s or Benellis or Berettas. Kel-Tec, I don't know if anybody's aware of this. You guys might not be because, guns are not a huge thing over in the UK. But Kel-Tec does not have a good reputation in reliability. So we don't use them. So a lot of ours are going to be your Remingtons, your Benellis, your Mossbergs, your Berettas. I prefer a Benelli shotgun. In my patrol vehicle, I used to have a Remington 870 that was like the typical patrol shotgun, and I used slugs. We didn't use double-aught buck. So, because after I don't know if you guys remember, this was several years ago. I was actually in the police academy when this happened, which was funny because, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, but it kind of relates. I was in the police academy. We were talking about the movie Heat. Do you remember the movie Heat? There you go. So you got you could do a scenario in that. So we were in class and we were talking about the movie Heat, and one of the instructors we had one day goes, "It'll never happen in real life. It couldn't happen in real life." No sooner had he said that, I think it was the next day, the LA bank robbery happened. And, the poor LAPD was, full body armor, SKSs, AK. They were doing the big shootout in the middle of the street where you had LAPD. So, they had Remington 870s and their Berettas at the time. And they were so outgunned because SWAT hadn't gotten there yet. They weren't breaking in. They went into a local sporting goods store that sold rifles, and they were taking the rifles from the sporting goods store so they could have somewhat equal firepower to what these guys had. So it was a big mess. So the point being is that's why I carried slug rounds. So people who are not familiar with ammunition, in shotguns, you have what's called double-aught buck. That's the big BBs, right? A slug is basically just that. It's a large bullet of lead in a 12-gauge size. So those, you can, even if it doesn't penetrate somebody's heavy-duty body armor, it will knock you off your feet. So, and then we had breaching rounds. The SWAT would have like breaching rounds. You could use slugs to breach with or double-aught buck depending on what you're trying to breach. We had a second shotgun that was painted yellow and green, or had bright orange stock and handles, and that was our beanbag rounds. If somebody was being out of control and you want to use less than lethal, you'd shoot them with a beanbag round. So there was different options. But point being is, I'm not familiar with any unit that uses a Kel-Tec. Maybe there are some out there because, like I said, Matt and Steven, they base everything off of real life. So there could be people out there that use it. Just in my area, I don't know anybody that uses them. We go with the ones that have been proven reliable. Maybe they have. I don't know. I'm going to claim ignorance on this, but just from my personal experience, we go with I love a Benelli. The Benelli is an amazing shotgun. Anyways, okay, so you got your SWAT guys. So you wanted an as far as Spectre, I would like them to, it's kind of hard because I would like to see some British paras. I would like that, I think I would like to see some British paras. I would like to see maybe some Marine MARSOC guys. You can use like the Rangers, pretty generically as, most equipment. I'm looking at the Green Beret Jungle Ops teams that they have here. They're not my favorite. I'll be honest with you. And I know that they said they worked with close cooperation with actively serving Green Berets while in deployment in Central Africa. I don't know. It just... Something about them just doesn't sit with me, but I'm not current in what they're using. I've been out of the Army since 2010, so I don't know what they're currently using. I know they have scars here that some of the guys, and I can tell you a lot of people hate those things. They're heavy, they're bulky. They just, it's a good round, but it's a penetrating round. It's not a jungle round. If you ever hear the history of why the Army adopted the 5.56 or the 223, is because it's a slower round and it bounces. So when you're in a jungle and you're shooting, it will penetrate through stuff, but it also will spin and bounce. So it's a good jungle. When you're in terrain that's got obstacles everywhere. The 7.62 round is meant as a penetrating round. It will go through just about everything. It will go through a fire hydrant. I don't know what you guys call them over in the UK, but the fire hydrant. Okay. I didn't know if you guys called it like a plug or, something like that. Okay. Yeah, some places do actually. Yeah, they will actually go through a fire hydrant. I've seen it done. They easily go through cars like it's, butter. So it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things, it's just something about, I don't know if it's the baseball hats that they're wearing. It's just something about them that's a little off-putting to me, and I don't know why. A lot of them are wearing some kind of like utility belt with all their stuff on, and most people have gotten away from getting stuff off their waist and putting it on their chest and back because it helps your lower back. That's why you see a lot of guys with Molly gear now with their armor, their body armor with the pouches and their magazine pouches and everything on the front, because it definitely saves that. And I don't know, it's just something about it just seems a little off to me. They're really well sculpted. I'm not taking anything away from the artist. It's just the way that they're set up to me. They don't have radios. That's the other thing. When you look at these guys, what I'd like to see if we're going to do this, and I'm going to look at... Let me look at the SF guys here again. I'm going to go to the Rangers, okay, just as an example. The Rangers are really well kitted up, but none of them have a radio. If you look at any pictures now of guys, you'll see antennas coming out of their vest left, right, and center, right? So I would like to see that molded in or designed. And I know that's going to be difficult because that's going to be such a thin piece of material. So I honestly, I don't have, other than things like the MARSOC, or I would like to see PJs, pararescue, Air Force, jumpers. I would like to see a couple PJs, because they played a big part in as far back as Mogadishu, so why not put some of those guys in there? I'd like to see some combat controllers, because now the Air Force has bunched in their combat controllers, their PJs, their weather guys, all those into their special operations group. Now every branch has its own special operations group, right? Because it's the cool thing to be this day. So, I'd like to see a little bit expansion there. And I know Spectre doesn't really play, its strong suit is not larger battles where you would have all these specialties. It's more of the specialized covert ops or special ops stuff, and that's cool. I love that to death. And I'm also in agreement they could broaden their range with different civilians and combatants and things like that. So I would like to see that. I would like to see some tokens for IEDs. I know we can make some, stuff like that. And I know that's difficult. You're walking on territory that is very sensitive to a lot of people, and I understand that. But, I think people want to see that. Like I said, I would like to see British Para, MARSOC, Air Force Special Operations, things like that. I would like to see them get into some Germans, the G9s. Some French, maybe some Foreign Legion or French Special Operations. There's so much that they could concentrate. And I know why they picked what they did, because those are the most popular ones, and that's what everybody wants to play. But if you want to just expand your range a little bit, you could look at some of the other units as well. So that's kind of... Yeah. It could be. Uh-huh. Is he? I saw another company had produced their own version of that, or John Wick, whatever they're going to call them. So, yeah. Yeah, copyright pending.
Yourself. Let's bring that up. But yeah, it looks... I'm not sure what era that would be.
Let's take a look.
So if you look, the very first sort of pitch on the list type of thing, you'll see a green.
Oh, yeah, the greens?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so you see them. So it's a chemical suit, definitely.
It's a chemical suit. It's a, he's got a gas mask on. Mm-hmm. That is a AK-74.
Is it?
Yeah, it looks like a new AK.
Right. So it might be some up-to-date, more Spetsnaz in their chemical suits.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Which, okay, so walk me through this, because what's with everybody doing the chemical suits these days? Are they expecting... I'm not sure. Us doing, some kind of, what am I trying to say? Some kind of, terrorism thing where you got chemical weapons?
I have no idea. Is it not something now because it was, shall we say, after Chernobyl came out and stuff?
Uh-huh.
The miniseries and stuff, and it's become more of a front, more in, shall we say, news, because there was the chemical spill. I think that wasn't reported in Russia.
Okay.
I think this, last year there was something mentioned about there was an incident somewhere. It wasn't a chemical spill; it was a nuclear issue in Russia that wasn't reported on at the time and things. Do they think that because of the state of the world, that it's one of the things that's a possibility, because all of this stuff is what if, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. God forbid, ever going to happen. From a point of view of what we play out on the tabletop. Granted, we are playing out some historical battles that we know happen, or historical incidents, but future things like what Spectre deals with. But I'm wondering as well, is these minis could be used for that new Osprey game that's coming out. The Zoa Alpha. Is it Zoa? Let's have a look. I'll try and pronounce it correctly. Zona, so it's Z-O-N-A Alpha, which is the new skirmish game by Osprey, and it's for people who don't know, or people who there was a PC game came out called Stalker, which was set in Chernobyl.
Okay.
Set in that area of Russia, and you were basically hunting each other through long grass and the whole nuclear waste and the Geiger counter and stuff like that. So these minis could be used for that.
Yeah.
As well as Spectre, doing Spectre, but also used for that near future, area thing. So I'm not too sure, but halfway down, if you look on the third line down, you'll see the new sculpt that they're doing for Mr. Baba Yaga.
Okay.
Which looks really nice, actually.
Yeah.
So I've got a suspicion that might be a convention mini.
Well, that'd be cool. Maybe I'll actually get one this year because you messaged me last year, go pick up Baba. I'm like, who the hell is Baba Yaga? Unfortunately, when I'm in Adepticon convention mode, all I'm thinking about is I got to get this video out. I got to edit this one, and then you were like, you got to pick this up. And I'm like, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. And I had just watched John Wick 1 or 2. So I was like, duh, so.
Yeah. But there's lots of interesting things coming out, I think, and like we said, the deal for the starter set is a really good deal. It's just a shame it seems to be sold out at the moment. But there is an option on the website to say, email me when this comes back in stock. So you never know. Demand might be that, they bring it back into stock, and I think they will. Another interesting thing, I don't know if you noticed, but there's no more links to Black Site Studio on the Spectre page. I thought didn't there used to be a link for them? There used to be, but that was limited time only, I think.
Another limited time only thing?
I think it was just to see what the demand would be through Spectre website.
Gotcha.
Because remember, Spectre does for the UK predominantly. So, I mean, I've looked at Black Site Studio stuff and I love it, but the shipping would probably kill me.
Yeah,
so, but then I'm also looking at, there's a Australian company who there's a collection, I think I've sent you the link to them before, but we'll have a chat off thing about it, is that does the SLA files for 3D printing. And they've got a set of what's modern, Middle Eastern.
Okay.
It's €65 for all of the SLA files. One of the SLA files looks like the Olympic Hotel.
Oh, okay.
And it's a 28 millimeter. And there's SLA files in there for what looks like destroyed buildings. So it's like a three-story, and then so probably like 2 or 3 buildings are tied, like an apartment block, all destroyed and crumbled. So it looks like something from, say, Aleppo.
Holy cow, wait a minute. So these are 3D printable files?
Yes, they're 3D printable files.
My resin printer is not that big.
No.
But there is a resin printer out there that has a large enough base to start printing terrain. It's a little bit more expensive, but I've almost pulled the trigger on it twice, and I'm like, Dawn's going to kill me if this shows up, So, but
I'll send you the link again.
Yeah, send me the link so I can take a look at it.
For the SLA files, there's a drone, uncrashed, a crashed drone, a Learjet. So there's lots of files to 3D print. I know I've said to myself, if I ever win the lottery in the UK, I'm going to go the whole hog and go to Foam Labs, and buy the the whole kit and caboodle from Foam Labs, because they've got a brand new large base resin printer coming out at the back end of the year. Which will be very expensive it's a huge large base resin printer. So 3D printing changed the world.
Yep, sure does.
in a way. But now there's some nice resin. There's some nice 3D files there for building tables with. Really, really nice stuff. And then you can intermix those bits with the things from like Antonosi's workshop, where you've got the destroyed cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you could create a whole table set somewhere in the Middle East that looks like it's been hit by shelling and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd be really nice.
So, lots of interesting things. So shall we talk about the 13 hours?
Let's talk 13 hours, shall we? So you and I have, in the previous podcast, been talking about the rule set to use. And your recommendation was Skirmish, just based upon why Skirmish? Why don't we remind people why you recommend Skirmish instead of, say, Spectre or Contact Front or something like that?
I think from my feeling, and but everybody knows, I love Spectre. I think Spectre's a great system. It's superb. But I think Skirmish lends itself a bit better to what we want to achieve with the 13 hours because it gives you that role-playing element.
right.
within it.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can, you generate your stats. You roll a d10. That's the stats for that person, and then it just gives you that little bit more, shall we say, investment.
Yeah.
Within the character that you've created. If need be, you could take the 13 hours idea and what was the JRS guys? How many guys was it? Was it 8 guys?
Six guys.
6 guys. Technically, you could run it as a 6-player,
Yeah, you could.
game, because each person could take control of that one guy.
Uh-huh.
And it gives you, from that point of view, it gives you that role-playing idea.
Right.
Within it. And I think it's a game system, that we want to have a look at more in depth, especially with, us chatting with Colin and also knowing that Ultra Combat's coming, soon.
Yeah.
And Ultra Combat Normandy's out and stuff like that. And unlike Spectre, which has the increment ranges and things like that, because of the type of combat it is, there's no ranges and things like that within the Sanguine system. There's no ranges and stuff like that. Granted, it is. I think there's a little bit more bookkeeping involved.
Yeah.
But I think for what you want to achieve with the, having 6 guys against many, I think this would probably lend itself a little bit quicker in the long run for creation wise.
No,
But don't get me wrong, you could easily create it inside of Spectre. It's just, I think it's just looking at the different, the difference out there, and Sanguine's the granddaddy, if you want to say, the modern gaming systems out there. I think it was the first one. It was the first one I bought. It was the first one I knew about.
Right.
Sanguine. So so going back and starting at the beginning, but we can take, say, the next time we do something like this, say we do Mogadishu, or we do, say, the Falklands, the attack on Pebble Island might be an interesting one to look at.
Yeah.
We could pick Spectre for that and use Spectre for that.
Of course. Yeah, that and we decided to go even a little deeper with the rule set and use the add-on rules from Plausible Deniability, because that really addresses more of these type of characters that we're going to be modeling and playing, right? So the GRS guys, so they're in that rules. I'm having a problem. I can't remember which drive I have my rules book set on, so I'm still looking for it. But I know you have yours.
Yep.
So
what I can do, G, if you give us a couple of seconds, I'm going to... Can you see my computer screen?
I can.
See, there you go.
All right. Let me bring that up here in full glory.
So as you can see, I've got the 2 rules set up. The power of Skype.
The power of Skype.
So there we go. So.
Yep. So yeah, there's Marsoc right there in theirs. So you do have that ability. Yeah.
But it was more looking at that point cost options. Because then, even though it says Marsoc, you can still use that point cost, I think, to denote the costs for the JRS guys.
Yep.
Going off the type of weapon.
Yeah.
So
do they have CIA contractors in there? Do you know where PMCs? Well, there's SEALs, Marsoc.
We'll see what's in the thing at the top, because it shows you here what we've got. We've got. No, that's what you're limited there, but it allows you.
Well, you can create your own.
You can create your own, yeah. So if we go to the creation of your own, which is there.
Yep.
So regardless of body types, both groups train shootout. So the rule is when it comes to firearms, if you pay the points. So I think it's just working out, because you create your own in this with them being, flexible. You can say, well, these 2 guys are elite. The Marine guys and the Ranger guys might be classed as professionals.
Yeah.
And it's just speccing them out that way.
Yep.
from point of view, because I think the like the Orbit Marsoc and the Orbit SAS and stuff, they're just examples.
Yes.
Of what they've done. Where, say for example, we take, there's because we knew there was 2 SEAL guys there. So it would be up to you to say what type of SEAL is it. Is it a leader? If so, it's going to cost you more because there's going to be the additional skill things within that you get for being a commander. Or is it just going to be an elite operator with an M4 and CQBR weapon? And then it's just working out, not necessarily the dice roll, but if we're going down the points cost route, which I don't know. I don't think we will be. Will we?
No, because it's not really based on points. We're basing these on, a real life character. So the points is not going to be a consideration in this. We know we're going to have 6 guys plus an interpreter going against a whole bunch of bad guys. So
So it's just working out the weapon loadouts of what the guys are going to be carrying. So you're going to have, was it 1 saw?
Probably 2. Well, yeah, I think we're going to go with 1 saw. I have to go back and do a little bit.
Was that an M240 or was that an M249?
249 para.
Right. So you've got 1 basically LMG and a bunch of M4s.
Yep.
With sidearm forces.
Well, one of them was. Hold on a minute. Let me bring up that. I have the weapons list here. We can kind of talk through it. Okay. Okay, so the weapons used. Obviously, handgun was a P226, which we, Glock 19, yada yada, Glock 17. We're looking more at the bigger stuff. Okay, so most of the guys were carrying Colt M4A1s. It was Boone had one, Tonto had one, Tig was carrying them as secondary weapons. Silva and Oz were carrying them as their primary. The CIA security personnel were M4s, the M4. So M4. Let me try that again in English. M4A1s were the primary or secondary weapon. Doherty had an Mark 18, but we're not using Doherty because he's the Libyan, the Tripoli response, so we're not doing that. Roan was using a Salient Arms International Gray Rifle, which is an offshoot of an M4. It's got the longer barrel and the heat shields on it. So, titanium receiver, or is it titanium? I think it is. I think it's a titanium. But and then the Delta guys we're not worrying about, and then the sniper rifle was an HK417. So that's the sniper rifle we're going to be using. FNs we're not worrying about. M16s we're not worrying about. AIMs, so offshoots of AKs for the bad guys.
You're going to have an offshoot of AKs, probably some pistols, machetes.
FNs. So the machine gun was the 249 paratrooper. So that was used by Tonto and Tig.
That's the shortened version, isn't it?
Yep. So I have Tonto or Tig already painted up with that. 240Bs we're not going to use because that was used at the compound at the end when they got back. Obviously, there's the light machine guns and PKMs and all that, and then a douche. So Ma Deuces we're not going to use because that doesn't fit into the scenario. Shotgun, we're not going to use that. I mean, we could technically use that for the DS agent, but we'll probably just give them M4s. And then there was the HK69 Alpha 1, which is the grenade launcher. That is what Tig was using that he drops. And then RPG. So that's kind of the roundabout of the weapon. So, in generic terms, I don't know the weapons charts in the game. I'd have to look to see what exactly we can model. But a lot of it's going to be M4s. And whatever they use for a sniper rifle, and then a 249. So.
The sniper rifle there is classed as a DSM.
Okay.
So it's a designated marksman rifle, which is, I think, slightly different than the standard sniper in the rules.
Okay.
Because their definition of sniper, if you look in this list, is like the Mark 11, the M107, the M40.
Uh-huh.
But the H&K 417, the Mark 17 Mod 0, or DMRs, sorry, they're DMRs.
Uh-huh.
So their marksman rifles not full-on sniper, which denotes, I think, that they have the semi-automatic property.
Yeah.
Compared to the standard. I think, I'm probably wrong, and I do apologize to all of the gun enthusiasts and people out there that know this, that most modern sniper weapons are bolt action, or seem to be now.
No, most of them. Well, see, there's a difference of school of thought on that. A lot of the modern weapons right now are semi-auto.
Right.
Some of the other ones are still like the M700 series is bolt action.
Right.
The reason being is you'll get people who say that bolt action are more accurate because you don't have the semi-auto action of ejecting the cartridge and reloading, so there's less barrel travel. But a lot of things like right now, you'll got a 308. The HK is a semi-auto, so they're kind of moving away from bolt action to obviously the Barrett is a semi-auto. That'd be cool.
And it's very scary.
So, it's just but everything we're going to use, there's going to be no bolt action on the GRS side.
No. Yeah.
So.
Well, it's the same damage anyway as a sniper's rifle looking in the rules here. So, it's still 4d10 damage.
Yeah.
It's got a range of 200, the sniper rifle, which will be what you use, 250, I think that's inches.
Yeah.
500 meters. A range, I think it goes beyond that, but I think that's the optimum range within the rule set. More than anything. So your weapon types within the rules, which I've got to open up here, is going to be it's going to be the same. So it's just your JMP and your MM, which is the M2440 or the 249. Is the same as a PK. A PKM, the Dusk will be slightly different because I think vehicle weapons are slightly different when they're mounted on the technicals and stuff. I think they do it slightly different, but most of the weapons and everything from the rules standpoint is going to be the same. It's just it's just basically looking at what each of them have, putting it against the character, and then rolling, to say what specialisms they've got, whether the marksman and that comes down to when you're creating the character.
Yeah.
So it's just working on, so if you look, we've got a sort of generic force here, which is, say, your standard, I've just went on Australia there, so, you've got your standard riflemen, you've got your grenadiers, you've got your assistant squad leaders, you've got your grenadiers and things like that.
Hey, look, it's a war pig.
Yes, it's a war pig.
You know what? Dang it, I need that picture for reference.
That's a mastiff, actually.
So I can well, it's pretty similar to a war pig. I can use that to finish my war pig.
Yeah, it's the Mastiff, that one. It's the British one that you can actually get if you're lucky enough to hunt it down. Airfix do a 1/48th scale version of that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It's a very nice Airfix kit. And Empress, speaking of miniatures, did minis that could go into it.
Oh, okay.
British like gunners and drivers that could go into the Airfix Mastiff.
Nice.
Vehicle. Yeah, it's one of the shall we say the more interesting vehicles that seems to have popped up from the conflict over there.
Excellent.
So yeah, I think just thinking off the top of my head, it's just going to be now for you to sit with your rule book, work out what which you've already got. You've got what they're carrying.
Yep.
And then just working out, either rolling a dice or saying, this guy has got, a body type of X, body type of Y. I'm assuming it might be more, shall we say, give you that element of randomness wherever you roll.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, this guy does this. Because remember, the way it works in the rules is the body type, if I remember correctly, is the number of APs you get, number of action points.
Yeah.
and it tells you on what round, on what combat phase. Because the way Scanlan wishes, you have 1 to 10 as your combat phases. And so in the example here, this guy's got a body of 17, yeah?
Yeah.
So he operates on 4 phases. So you can operate on phase 4, phase 6, phase 2, 4, 6, and 8. And that's when they can activate.
Yep.
The other thing I will send you, which will help, is I went through when I first got Scanlan, and I created an Excel spreadsheet where you could put the body type in, and it would work out things like phases and all of that stuff. It was for points calculation because Scanlan lends itself to, you've got a 500-point army or 500-point squad here. This is it. So I'll send you the Excel sheet that'll help you.
Okay, sounds
do
good.
all that, because then it saves a lot of the math. Math bad.
Yeah.
Who said we'd
So if you could, since you are our graphics artist, dude, if you could create some cool custom character cards for our guys, that would be amazing. Yep. That we could show off.
I've got a Scanlan one somewhere I can modify.
Awesome. Cool.
Because yes, I have been playing with graphics this past week.
Excellente. So yeah, I'm excited.
I think it'll be really good. Are you going to record the whole thing when you run it?
The actual game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're going to stream it.
I was going to say, we're definitely streaming it, but I was just thinking for the people that don't have,
Oh, no. It'll be
access. We'll put it on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, no. Once we stream it to all the they automatically record it on Facebook and YouTube, so it'll be there for later viewing for those who can't do it live. But yeah, so just real quick recap for everybody. So it's a 3-phase project. Obviously, it's the 3-phase game, but it's a multi-phase project. So that we're creating the miniatures right now, or not creating them, but painting them up. Marty, Chris, and I are creating the board. Gaz is painting up some of the bad guys. We're going to paint up some bad guys as well. We're planning to have 60 miniatures representing bad guys. I think we decided on a ratio of 1 miniature represents 3 guys. Yeah. The good guys will be 1-to-1. What you see is what you get. We are building the Ambassador's compound. I talked to the guys over at Black Site Studio. They're going to help us with terrain. We did get some terrain from Sarissa Precision to start us off because they had a sale, and then I'll get the rest from Black Site, our wonderful sponsors of the podcast. Because they have a swimming pool that we definitely need. If you've heard that, we're going to make sure the swimming pool's there in the compound. So the game is broken up into 3 phases. Phase 1 is transition from CIA Annex to the Ambassador's compound. So that's going to be that's being created by Jim. That'll be kind of a homebrew rule set. So we have to race through the streets, avoid roadblocks, address bad guys or possible bad guys, and every turn we said is going to take us about a minute in real life. We're probably going to fudge that a little bit. We still have to talk about that, but theoretically it should have taken them, what do we say, 7 to 10 minutes to get from the annex to the compound.
I think it's about that.
We're going to see, and we're going to build a timeline. So every turn that it takes you to get there, something else happens. It's an escalation type thing. And if you don't get it by the certain plan time, then the further it takes you to, or longer it takes you to get there, more things happen. At a certain turn, the building catches on fire. At a certain, so all that stuff that happened in real life, we're going to build that into the time frame. So I know Jim's working on that. So we're going to have that anticipation and stress, and then on top of that, whatever happens to the GRS guys in the transition game is what happens to them in the tabletop game. So if for some reason we get somebody wounded or is incapacitated, they are no longer in the mix when we get to the tabletop. So, it's all going to culminate. And then once we fight it out on the compound and we recover who we can, we got to race back to the annex. And so then it comes to, do we get back safely, or does the crowds increase, does the weapons increase? And then we still have to make it within a certain amount of time. So it's a race against the clock, if you will, in some aspects. So it's going to be like going through the buzzsaw, right? We have not decided about doing a 4-phase, which would have been the Alamo or the standoff at the annex. Gaz sent me a file for Arma 3, that simulates that standoff. So if we get really crazy, we might just do it in Arma. I don't know. We'll see. Because now I got my network set up where people can actually join the game with me. So maybe we can get the command team to all play a character in the standoff, and we can fight it out on the screen. So
that might be an interesting one. Not a multiplayer Arma game of us. But no, that things I think as well from a table type point of view for the Alamo especially. I think that would be initially a bridge too far for the 13 hours and 13 days thing. Yeah. Because that would take a lot of work of setting it up, especially from a table point of view, especially if you know, I know it's not as accurate, but the film, you know, you see that Alamo incident in the film 13 hours. Yeah. And I think trying to replicate that on the tabletop, especially in 28mm, that's probably a 6-month project, I would think, really, you know, from getting everybody painted, especially the addition of vehicles, because I think there would be more than one tentacle involved, and the number of minis would just exponentially go up. But one of the things I think we could do for this, and it might be something to chat about anyway as a group, is I did a Spectre game which was like the Alamo. I played the Insurgents, and I've seen it done on other ones. That when the unit was wiped out, they would go onto the edge of the table, and they would be the reserves that come in. So, you know, you're technically regurgitating or redeploying the dead as another unit ready to come on. Yeah. So it was, you know, that type of thing, because then it becomes, especially for something like an Alamo event, the overwhelming numbers. Are you keeping, you know, on top of stopping those overwhelming numbers, but then you'll have the flip side of that of ammunition depletion. So, you know, it's something to shall we say, think about, I think, and do that as it might be a later project that we tackle. I think might be a better way of doing it.
I think we got enough on our hands with doing the Ambassador's Compound, because Marty worked out that we need 24 linear feet of wall alone. Just so, yeah.
That's a lot of wall.
Yeah. So our plan is this week is to finish up the GRS team, get them all painted. Because I think right now we're 12 hours and 12 days. We're 14 hours into the project. And our first, you know, so we have 12 hours, 12. Oh my God, this math is killing me. 12 days, 7 hours left of this. So, right? No, that doesn't right. That doesn't add up to 24 hours.
So how many hours are we in at the moment? 12?
We're 12.
Or 14?
We're 12 hours in. Good God, I can't even add.
We're 12 hours in, so we have 12
days, hours. 12 hours.
Yeah. Math. Duh. I need a calculator.
I need more lifer juice, gosh darn it. It's still, well, I was going to say it's still early here, but that's not true. It's now 11:30 my time. So, So, you know, so it's a great project, guys. You've got to follow along, and you got to start watching these hobby nights, the interaction with the dual screens, and, if we end up doing like a hobby on a Sunday, I'm hoping that Gaz and maybe you, Ralph, can jump in and do your own set from the England side. That would be awesome. You know, no pressure, just, what we can do. But if Jim needs a break from streaming. So, we got all kinds of stuff. And, Ralph is mainly our graphics guy. So he's got a lot of stuff going on at work. So it's hard for him to jump on camera. So, which is fine. We all have our part to play in this wonderful world that we have created. Yeah. Another shout out, I want to shout out to my friend Alex at Full Battle Rattle, because we're using his interpreter from the Canadian Command Crew is our interpreter Ahmed. Is it Ahmed or Ahmed? I'm trying to remember his name.
I think it's Ahmed, isn't it?
I think so.
It's been a while since I haven't read up recently on the 13-hour stuff, and I haven't seen the film in a while. So
I'm looking at, I have it right here. I just want to make sure I give credit where credit's due on that. Because Tonto gives him his pistol, and then he keeps smacking it away from him. I don't want to get killed by my own gun, and damn it, I'm going to die by my own, friends. Tonto hands off his Glock to translator Amal. Good God, it's a mall.
We're both wrong. I give up. Let's go. Right, that's it.
All right, I quit. I'm done.
Guys. Right, thanks, guys, for all the help prices.
So yeah, a mall. So I've already got a mall all painted up. We're using the guy from Full Battle Rattle. So Alex, if you're listening to this, and I'll make sure I let you know, guys, if you have not seen Alex's minis from they're Canadian military, really nice minis. I've painted them up on a live stream before. I plan on doing a little Spectre battle with them on the Black Site Studio demo table we got last year from Adepticon. So look for that in the future. That'll be after, obviously, we get done with 13 days, 13 hours. But I'm hoping in the future we see more from Alex, and talking about future wants and releases. I like to see him expand his stuff. I know he's looking for a sculptor, I think, at the moment. But yeah,
everybody seems to be having issues with sculpting at the moment, don't they? I mean, Colin had issues, didn't he, with
the American, which is so. I'm kind of curious as to what happened there, because at last year's Adepticon, I got an early set of the minis. So,
was it
and
the
they look
Americans
great.
Or the Russians you got?
I got Russians and Americans.
All right, you got them both, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, what happened to the Americans that they have? They're having problems.
Don't know. It just seems to be. It seems to be now that's, and this might be just my thinking. It seems to be a very niche skill at the moment. That's trying to get a good miniature sculptor. I don't know whether they've been picked up or what. Do we have a little time to talk about FFG?
Yes, let's do it.
Should we discuss FFG?
You know
what the hell's going on?
Well, let's talk about the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
But FFG obviously is the big one, but industry as a whole, gaming, I'm talking gaming now, that we're seeing a lot of consolidation. We're seeing consolidation, and we're seeing the small companies really struggling right now. Even some of the big companies, obviously, but so the question I have to ask, and if you're a fan of on Tabletop Beast of War, Warren has said for several years we're in the golden age of gaming. I think the bubble's burst. I don't mean to be the naysayer, but I think the bubble's burst, and we're seeing the correction.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a correction somewhat, and I know this is going to sound, shall we say, a dig at one company, and I don't mean it to be a dig at one company, but I think part of the issue with what's been going on has been Games Workshop.
Oh, how is Games Workshop the bad guy?
And I think it's just the steamroller that it is, and I think their price point is part of the issue.
Okay.
Because if you look you look at the new set that's coming out, or the set before that, it's over £100 in the UK. Yeah. Which I think is a lot of money for a lot of minis that there doesn't seem to be variety. You're getting this, not many of different poses. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not a Games Workshop. I don't collect Games Workshop. I haven't looked. I just looked at the price point, and I thought from somebody coming into the hobby, that someone of the age, from the teens, isn't going to have that amount of money to buy that type of starter set. And granted, you can get start collecting sets, but they're still £50.
Yeah.
And you're not getting a rule book in those start collecting sets.
Yeah.
You are in the main core big sets, you're getting a rule book, or you're getting a codex or something. But in those start collecting ones, unlike the Spectre one where you got a rule book, which I think was a great way, you get a rule book, you get 2 starting forces, you can play straight away. It's a bit like what the Flames of War did, you get a rule book, you get 2 forces, you can play.
Yep.
The Games Workshop ones, you're not. And I don't know whether and I think that's limited. It's not limited. I think that's purposeful, where, you're getting some minis, so you're going to have to spend another 30, 40 quid to buy our rule book. And it was mentioned today on OTT that Games Workshop posted their earnings. Yeah. And it was something like £2 billion.
Wow. That's pretty good.
It is very good, but does that mean now, is it because they are this behemoth that are doing this, and they're doing what they do? Is it having an effect on the rest of the industry that all the money seems to be scurrying towards them? and you've got all of the small independents, like Spectre, like say Colin and Sangan. Yes, we're highlighting the stuff we know out there. Even Mantic and people like that. Is it having a knock-on effect to their product?
Oh, I think so. So here's my theory on this whole thing. Obviously, GW has come back with a new marketing strategy over the last couple of years. They're more. They're back with a vengeance. They are very aggressive in communities. Where they weren't before. Remember how they were so standoffish before? They wouldn't talk about anything. Now they're very community oriented. They have a solid product. I mean, their minis are regardless whether you like them or not. If you look at them,
very well done.
They're very well done. Everything is a high quality. Yes, you're paying an extremely high premium for them. To the point where is it really worth it? That I can't say. I don't play 40K. I do have the most recent edition starter set. Well, the 8th edition starter set. I haven't had anything since the 8th edition starter set came out. And I do have the Tau starter force, and I bought an old Tau. I like the Tau because I like the suits. I mean, I know nothing about how they actually play. I just like the look of them. So it's one of those things that if I ever decide to actually play, because my brother was a big 40K player, before he got his new job, and unfortunately doesn't have as much time as he used to. But, so if I ever decide to play it, grand. I play Lord of the Rings from them. Very well done minis. A really good, solid rule set. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that ebbs and flows with them. They'll produce some stuff, they'll promote it, and then it kind of fades away. Then somebody else likes it again, they'll promote it again. They don't put as much energy into it as they do 40K and Age of Sigmar. My opinion, Age of Sigmar, it's terrible. I don't like the looks of them.
I'm not a fan of the Sigmar. I like the Chaos stuff.
Yeah,
I've looked at the Chaos stuff and some of the other stuff there, especially the Warcry stuff, and I thought that would be great for a Warlords of Eberron barbarian army.
Yeah. So, no, go ahead.
So that was it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, in the UK, and I don't know if you got it in America, but when the movies came out, especially, I think it was around the time of The Hobbit, it was around the time of The Hobbit. Games Workshop, did you know how they did the thing with the Primaris and the Chaos, where you could buy a magazine and you got a mini and some paints and how to play. They did that for Lord of the Rings.
Oh, nice.
And I got everything for it.
Excellent.
So I got a load of plastic orcs, and you got all the metal minis. So I've got a Lutz, I've got the Fellowship, and all of that. So I've got all of them sitting there because I was going to bring out the orcs and use them somewhere else because they're nice minis, and it looks like it's a really simple paint scheme. No offense to anybody that likes it, but I think it's a really simple paint scheme to get something on the table because it is just dark metals and dark browns. For the especially for the Urukai and stuff. The characters not so much. You've got to spend your time on the characters, but the rank and file sort of fighty orcs with the full helmet stuff is a thing. So because I was looking, that was one thing I was looking to do this year was do a little bit of modern, not a lot, but take a break and do like something completely different. Because you can get burnt out. We've all hobby burnout and stuff like that. So just not concentrating all on the same thing all the time. I think just will drive your brain out your head through your ears. So, but you're right. I have seen nothing new. I think the last new thing I saw for Lord of the Rings, and I could be wrong, was when they released Smaug.
Oh no, there's been a lot since then.
Has there been some stuff since that?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a whole new starter set, which I picked up last year.
The Pelennor Field starter set.
Yeah, Pelennor Field. So some of it is just reissues, but there are some stuff. They've had, I got. What did I just get? Oh, I got, Lake Town scenery. I got the special edition miniature of Thorn, Oakenshield, and Balog, or not Balog. The goblin or the orc guy.
The guy in white, the white orc.
Yes, when they're on the ice floe.
Yes,
so I have that. No, they're putting out stuff. It's just I'm just hoping they keep up the momentum. But here's my theory on what's happening right now. We can talk about FFG. I think we oversaturated, It's almost, you know what it reminds me of? And I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but back in the 80s when Atari and you had Atari ColecoVision
Yes, I am old enough to remember that.
So if you remember, everybody in the world, everybody in the world was putting out a game for Atari. I mean, even cereal companies were putting out games for Atari. And most of them were crap, you know?
E.T.
Yeah. I want a cartridge of ET just because I don't remember playing it, and I know it's terrible, but I have my original Atari, so I'd still collect all that. But we oversaturated the video game market in the 80s, and it crashed, right? And then Nintendo came on, and then because Atari, I mean, you stood in line for hours to get Pac-Man. You got Pac-Man home, and it was pure garbage, you know?
But you played it.
I played it because you had no choice. What else are you going to play, right?
It's a bit like comic books. It's exactly the same as what happened to the comic book market.
Yeah.
You know, yes, we're on a comic book high at the moment because of the MCU, but the reason that the MCU didn't have some of their characters until recently, like the X-Men, Spider-Man, the Hulk, the Fantastic Four, is because Marvel... in it before got bought by Disney, and even before then was in so much financial trouble that they sold all of those off to Sony, to Fox, to Universal, just gave them those characters. Yeah. And then when Disney took over and you had the rise of Iron Man set it off, and Disney went, well, we need to start looking at other things. Yeah. And they went, oh, well, you can't use Spider-Man because it's owned by this. You can't use this and this. It's that ebb and flow, and is the bubble bursting?
It is.
I don't think it. I think it's not bursting as in pop and everything's going to go to crap, But I think there's going to be a slowdown where then the market's at such a saturation. The miniatures market, I mean, the tabletop wargaming market, yeah. I don't think you're going to see that with role-playing.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think we'll see that with role-playing. I think you'll see the progression that has happened with role-playing because of D&D 5e. That is at its zenith. And I think, and I could be wrong, I'd have to check the numbers, but I think with the growth of 5e, and there was still people, it was still popular, even though the game system was crap with 4th edition. 3rd edition was very popular, second AD&D, as it was called, which was technically 2nd edition D&D and D&D, it's all been very popular. And it is, probably one of the longest running gaming franchise going. Yeah. From the original Gary Gygax's 1970s version to now. I don't think you're going to see with that hit. But I think you're going to see the likes of Games Workshop, and we'll talk about what FFG have done, this past week. That was a big shock, that announcement, if it is, true, because they've dropped Destiny, is that right?
Yeah, Destiny's gone. And Dawn cried, literally cried because it's gone. Because she loves the game. I mean, she is on a buying fringe right now to buy as much as she can to get whatever she didn't have. I mean, she's got an extensive collection. It's ridiculous. So it's crazy as to why they canceled it. Here's my opinion why they canceled it. They ran out of material for cards. Unless you're going to start making stuff up, they've pretty much explored the canon of Star Wars at this point.
They didn't do anything for Rise yet, though?
I don't. They have one more set coming out, so I don't know if that's going to include Rise or not. But
right,
yeah.
But does this then mean, because the Destiny's gone, it's the interactive part gone, so all of those apps that they were developing for, like Lord of the Rings, tabletop game, the board game, all of those have gone. The Descent app, and I'm guessing the app for, is it Elder? Thingy Mansion of Madness, the Cthulhu game that FFG do. So all of that stuff's gone. Which also means I've got an iPad with one of the Cthulhu games that FFG did on. So I'm guessing that won't be supported anymore.
Yep.
Is it the role playing one is definitely being closed because it was? I couldn't see anywhere exactly what was being said about their role playing.
Role playing is done. Fantasy Flight is out of the role playing business.
So that means we now have a defunct Star Wars role playing game.
Yep.
Another one.
Yep.
On top of the 3 that have gone before it.
Yep.
Their own game system.
Yep.
Is gone. The Lightforge, because Lightforge was moving into role playing, I think.
You might be right on that. Yep.
They didn't have Cthulhu. They didn't have Warhammer because that went to Gale Force 9, I think it is.
Yep. They lost the GW license. Yep.
They lost the GW license, so all the GW stuff went. And so the big role-playing one out of that lot, Star Wars.
Yep. And thankfully, I have my original Star Wars, and I did get some of the other Star Wars role-playing stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, I got it for collection more than playing. But yeah, Fantasy Flight, unless you, like right now I'm looking on Amazon, and this is where you're going to get the stuff that's still in stock somewhere because...
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
What does that mean for that? And that also means the the Legend of the Five Rings?
Anything role-playing is gone. The interactive, so the Lord of the Rings online game is gone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You'll still be able to get it. I think you can still download it from Steam, but it's not going to be supported anymore.
Yeah.
The guy that was the head of FFG that I talked to, was it last year or year before at Adepticon? Not Adepticon. Was it
Gen Con, wasn't it?
Gen Con, when they had the big reveal of Keyforge.
Was that Legion? When they had the reveal of Legion or Lightforge?
No, it was Keyforge.
Keyforge. So that's what I meant. Keyforge.
Yeah, Keyforge. They revealed Keyforge, and they revealed the Emperor's Star Destroyer. Remember the?
Oh, that was 2 year ago.
Yeah, so that was
last year.
Well, that guy's gone. So I mean, they've had a big, since Asmodee has come in and taken over Fantasy Flight. They are cleaning house, and now.
But it wasn't Asmodee though. It's sold it. Asmodee sold it.
Sold
FFG
what?
got sold.
To whom?
That's what was mentioned this morning on. Let's have a look.
FFG sold.
It's Asmodee Games was sold, I think.
Oh, they sold to a hedge fund or something like that, didn't they?
Let's have a look at Asmodee Games sold. Sale of Asmodee.
Yeah, to an investment firm, PAI.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said that the reason Star Wars stuff is that Disney's looking to buy them out. I don't know if that's true or not, but whatever.
They've got the money.
I mean, they're buying everything else. Why not this, right? But again, it comes down to, I think we're seeing, like, let's see, who is it? Fenris Games just announced that they're probably going to be closing.
Yeah, I saw that. I've had ordered.
Yeah.
Because I've got the original Alien versus Predator kit set.
Uh-huh.
I didn't go through the Kickstarter. I was not one of the people that did the Kickstarter. I've got the second edition set. Both the core rules and the expansion they did just before they lost the AVP license. But with the original Aliens vs. Predator set, because they were resin minis, they came on like Games Workshop round bases. So I went to Fenris and you bought resin, what is sets called the Sulaco set. And it's the decking.
Yeah.
It looks like Starship decking. And he does different size bases. Really nice, lovely resin cast. A little bit of cleaning, but you get that on most resin. Yep. Great company, great guy to work with. Just certain things that came and lovely. Yeah, he announced that. I think part of it, there was an announcement. Part of it was illness.
Yeah.
But I think it's also, he said that the orders have dropped off. So is this an impact of people printing their own as well?
Yeah.
For small guys like this, printing off their own bases, because you can go to Thingiverse and find, he has my STL file for printing bases for AVP or printing bases with starships on, decking on and things like that. So is 3D printing having an effect on these smaller companies that do things like this?
Yeah. And what's going on with CMON, because they're now owned by Asmodee and
God knows.
I don't know, but like I said, you're seeing consolidation of the industry. You're seeing a lot of the smaller independent guys unable to keep up. I think we have oversaturation of Kickstarter, as good as it is, has helped oversaturate the market. I mean, people buy these tremendous Kickstarters and they never play the stuff because it's so much stuff. It sits there on the shelf and you don't play it. I mean, there's so much. And then what happens is because there's so much choice, it gets to the point of oversaturation. People start going, I can't play this. I'm going to get rid of it. I just picked up Joan of Arc from Marketplace on Facebook. From some guy says, look, I'm never going to play this game. I want to, but I don't have time. And so I got it for dirt cheap, and I got it more for collection than, I might play it once or twice. It's not going to be my primary game, you know? So
they've gone through a restructure as well.
Oh, boy. Okay. So
we can figure that out, but they have gone through a restructure. The guys behind Joan of Arc and stuff. I mean, I've got two things with Kickstarter. I've got sort of two pronged. It's my opinion. People can yell at me all at once. I got on Kickstarter. I got the Walking Dead. And I paid a lot of money. I got everything within that starting Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And it's sitting on my shelf. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't painted it, haven't touched it.
Oh, dude. Have you played it, though? Okay.
I've not even played it. I've not even taken it out of the box.
You know what? You're talking the Mantic one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I've got an argument on Mantic as well. Is Mantic seem to be doing very well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do they keep going back to Kickstarter?
Okay, so here's the thing. I talked to Ronnie.
That does annoy me because I think they're really doing very well. But that does annoy me that you've got this company that does very well. Yeah. They've got some really popular lines out there.
Yeah.
Why do they see the need to have to go back to Kickstarter when they are doing very well?
I can tell you exactly why. I can tell you exactly
I think you can, but
Okay, so talking to Ronnie. So talking to Ronnie, yes, they're doing well. I don't know if you could say they're doing extremely well, but you got to remember they have very tight margins. So the cost of creating a game to the cost of the proofs, the molds, the greens, and getting it shipped to, going to China, having it produced, shipped back, printing is expensive.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the mini creation. Actually, printing manuals and box art and stuff, that's really expensive these days. So, if you think about it, so let's take, let me pull up Mantic here so we can talk real prices. And, Ronnie, if you're listening at some point, I'll make sure I link Ronnie into this so he can jump in at some point and he can add a comment if you want. All right, so like Kings of War 3rd edition's out now. So if we go to Kings of War, because what is their most recent Kickstarter? Was it Kings of War?
I think it was Kings of War 3rd edition, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it Hellboy?
Hellboy. So let's go to Hellboy. Let me bring up Hellboy. There it is.
It just seems,
Okay, so Hellboy.
From my being out of, not knowing these people and stuff like that, it just seems a little bit. Well, from my own point of view, you see.
Yeah. Let me bring up the shop. Why Hellboy wasn't coming up, I don't know, but let me bring it. Okay, so the Hellboy, the board game, is $100 US, which roughly it translates to 75 pounds. Okay, so out of that $100, printing cost we're going to talk per game now. So you're talking, I got to pay my people to design the game. So they typically, you're going to get a flat fee up front, and then they get a percentage of the sales. So let's say, and then you got to pay licensing fee because it's a licensed game, right? Yeah. So maybe Hellboy's not the best example, but it does provide an example. So, all right, out of $99, just talking licensing fee, you're probably talking $20 per game. All right. Then you take another 10% goes to the creator of the game. So that's 30% right off the top. So you're down to $70. Then you've got to produce the molds and design and print. That's going to cost you probably $50 per game. So now you're up to, what did we say, $80. So that leaves you $20 to cover other things. So out of that $100, they're probably making $10 to $15 profit per game. So, and if you don't sell well, because you got to remember, you got to pay up front for everything.
Yeah.
So, it's tough.
Yeah, I understand that. It's just not being part of, knowing, because you've got the links to the industry and stuff like that. You're just from a, shall we say, a consumer's point of view, class me as a consumer. I just see it as like, well, you've got a success and you're going back into something that may not, you're trying to get your game work. So say, for example, they didn't get the funding for Kings of War 3rd edition. All those Kings of War players would have been, what's going on here, type of thing. Of this, I'm going back to play a second edition and things like that. But what if I don't want to play a second edition because, they've released a beta of the rules or whatever? It's that. It just seems to be like a double-edged sword for some of them, to do this with especially with Kickstarter, because it is very, 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 hit or miss. On what gets funded and what doesn't. I'm still waiting. You're probably the same. I backed a Kickstarter 2 years ago. And I'm still waiting for it.
Which one was that?
And I know that's not unusual.
Which one are you still waiting
on? I went with the Rook and the Raven to get one of their D&D folios.
Oh, no, I didn't back that one. Yeah.
It's a leather-bound, folio. You can put your character sheet in, you can track your campaign and stuff like that. Really nice, And I went through it because, I watched Critical Role, and they were all using it, and they were saying, it's a really nice product. So I backed it, and I'm still waiting for it because I've had problems getting the leather.
Well, I can tell you,
2 years now.
Another thing, with Kickstarters, some of the stuff, like you're saying, it has yet to be delivered or isn't going to be delivered. I backed several games from my friend John Caddis. If you know that name, he is the head of Ninja Division or
C-Bon.
So I backed the latest Super Dungeon Explorer, and I backed the train game Rail Raiders. I'm not going to see either of those games, to be honest with you. So that's several $100 gone. And look, I know it's not a pre-order system. The way I look at it is I'm making an investment into a game. And there's a risk when you invest. So these people that are screaming and yelling that they didn't get their product, you guys got to understand, you would run the risk of losing your money. However, that's if it's the legitimate reason. If people continue to... It's almost like a Ponzi scheme. I'm going to pay you this money. I'm going to promise you this. Then you go to the next people. If you pay me this money, I'm going to promise you this. And they use that money to pay off the other people that they promised. And it's a pyramid scheme, right? Yeah. If you're treating it like a pyramid scheme, and I'm not saying any company's doing this, I'm just using it as an example, then that's where there's an issue. So Ninja Division, I don't see me getting those stuff. Which frustrates me because when I was at Gen Con 2 years ago talking to John Caddis, they had a stack of Rail Raiders sitting right there, and I still hadn't gotten mine. And as of today, I still don't have mine. My friends over at Devil Pig Games, I have still yet to receive my Kickstarter for Heroes of Normandy, the card game.
Yeah.
And people supposedly be getting it, a lot of people haven't gotten it, and then they've done other things. They haven't answered any of my messages. And I've been trying to be really brave about not calling them out on the podcast, but guess what, guys? I'm calling you out. Where is my freaking game?
It gets to a point where frustrations do boil over, and the things.
Like I said, if nobody got their game and they had problems producing it, that's one thing. But when they're selling it on their website and people are getting it and a lot of other people aren't, and they are not responding to you, I have a problem with that. So where is my bloody game?
I think the worst case of that is AVP.
Yeah. Well,
But the issue, but there were issues with that, but I don't think they communicated them.
That's the
good
problem. They
enough.
don't communicate. That's the problem.
Because it was a licenses issue. They had created something, put it on the original Kickstarter, and Fox went, no.
Yeah.
That's not, no, you can't do that. Pulled it off, and that's when because in that Kickstarter as well, in the original Kickstarter, or the one at Kickstarter, they promised so much, and they couldn't deliver on what they promised, but some of it was not what Fox wanted, so it had to be removed, and then there was all of the Fox sign-off.
Yeah.
And I think that's where AVP sort of fell over, was the miscommunication with its backers, and also the process of getting stuff okayed from Fox to then coming back, to Protoss to then produce it. But then last April, the license wasn't renewed, but we guessed why that was, because Disney was buying Fox, and that was falling under the Disney remit. And then, is it Gale Force 9 are doing the new Alien board game?
I think it's Gale Force 9, yeah. I mean,
so
you run a huge risk when you license material from a company these days, especially for a miniatures company where your margins are so tight. You don't have a huge surplus of cash, operating cash, and you could be in the middle of your project. And I'm not supporting Protoss Miniatures at all. However, we have a good relationship with Protoss. They're the ones who helped create Dawn's Mini. Yeah. So, they were always good to us, and they were very, I think they got stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I think they did as well.
I think their original licensing agreement was approved. They started producing their Kickstarter, and it went live. And then I don't know if there was a personnel change or some lawyer got involved at Fox, and they said no. And that created a whole bunch of licensing and production issues. And my understanding, talking to the guys from Protoss, is that every miniature, sculpt, print, whatever involved in that Kickstarter had to be sent to them for approval.
Yeah. And
they kept delaying the approval process, which delayed the Kickstarter, which ran up costs. And that's where they got in trouble. They basically, their costs overran their estimates because of the licensing process they were being put through, which caused issues with delivering of the Kickstarter. Now, I'm not absolving them of blame. They should have been honest and open with their people. When we talked to the guys over in Poland about it, they said, look, we're not game manufacturers. We're engineers. We could have done a better job. They took responsibility for it, because we had extensive conversations with them when we were designing Dawn's Miniature, because we didn't want to put money into it because, it costs money. And we didn't want to get, stuck in the same thing. But they were open and honest with us, said, look, we didn't do a good job of communicating. We should have been open and honest from the front. It started costing us extra money. We weren't making salaries. We had to invest everything we had to keep the company open. And then we had to ask for money from the Kickstarter people again. And then they tried to do another Kickstarter to get surplus cash to help fund, the overruns. So Kickstarter, if run right and everything goes perfect, can be a good tool. Yeah. If you have any roadblocks, bumps in the road, changes in production, whatever, and you don't account for that overrun, holy moly, are you in big trouble, right? So
definitely.
And I think that's where a lot of these companies have gotten into, is that they have all these issues where they didn't estimate this, overruns and extra costs and problems that they had, and it just sets you up for failure. I mean, look at my dear friends over at Foreground.
Yeah. Yes. That was a little bit of a shock when that sort of was announced and stuff. I mean, the other thing as well is I think some companies are going to Kickstarter offer too much in the way of their stretch goals. Yeah. They don't keep it to a small,
realistic amount. And realistic. They have created a monster. Because some of these campaigns have had such huge stretch goals, people now expect it. And if you don't offer the sun and the moon, your Kickstarter runs the risk of failing because you don't have enough good stretch goals. And that's not what it was meant to be. So they've created their own monster, and they've shot themselves in the foot.
I mean, you look at games. So if we look at Mythic Battle Pantheon, as an example of
love that game, by the way.
I love the minis. I've never played the games, but I looked at the minis and went, ooh, they would be really good for doing like Mortal Gods That's coming out. The Mortal Gods Mythic that's coming out.
Yep.
Perfect minis for that. You know, the things. But you look at the amount of stuff that I'm thinking from a cost point of view to get everything.
It was $1,000 US to get everything.
A lot. And yes, the pile of boxes was the height of me, and I'm nearly coming up to 6 foot. And it was like, I could never paint all of that. For one thing, you know, you've got to take that into consideration. That itself is probably someone's hobby for 5 to 6. I would say if you're not a prolific painter, a good 2 to 3 years.
Time. Yeah.
You know, that would keep you going. You wouldn't have to buy anything else.
But you know what? It oversaturated because they got you on shiny syndrome. They got you so excited. I'm going to buy all this stuff. And then you don't realize what you've gotten yourself into. You spent all this money, you know, in the case of the all-in package, $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
And then it arrives and you literally have a 6-7 foot tower box, you know, tall boxes, and then comes the storage problem, and you know, and after shiny syndrome wears off, you're looking at this pile going, shit, what am I going to do with all this stuff? You know, and realistically, when you play the game, you only use 4 or 5 minis in a game. You know,
I must admit, with The Walking Dead, I can probably use that stuff for the Last Days skirmish game.
Yeah.
You know, because I've got there was the nice little things there. But did you see as well, as we're talking about Kickstarters, and we'll bring it back to modern miniatures, did you see Miniature Gaming Authority is doing another one? They're doing a new vehicle. They're
doing the truck, right? The Deuce and a Half?
They're doing the Russian truck, I think it is.
Oh, is it a Russian truck? Okay.
It looks like it's a Russian truck, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get that, because his Kickstarters, they're pretty much already done. Yeah. By the time, you know, he's just looking for the final funding, because basically what he does, my understanding at least, and Kirk, if you're listening, you can correct me on this, but he invests his own money into creating the templates or the greens or, you know, the masters, and then offers it up to Kickstarter to cover the production costs, which is smart because he's invested his money first, and then so you get your product pretty quick. Like the War Pig, I got that in a couple months later. So he does it smart. He doesn't overdo it. You know, it's a pretty simple Kickstarter. This is what you're going to get for this amount of money. Boom, done. So
it's a Ural. So I'm thinking that's the Russian truck. I could be wrong. It might be American.
That's not American.
So it's the URAL. So yeah, it looks like which will be perfect to go with my Spetsnaz.
Yeah. Yeah, you could use that because we use a lot of Hemmets now and MTVs and LTVs and JLTVs. Because like in that picture you see in the lower part, you got Hemmets. I don't know. Maybe the URL is the modern day Deuce and a Half. I'm going back to I'm showing my age because I got my license. I learned how to drive I got my military license learning how to drive a Deuce and a Half. You know, it wasn't even a Humvee. I had to drive a Deuce and a Half. So, but hey, how do you like that miniature?
Yeah, I was going to say, who painted?
So, guys, I know you can't see it, but Ralph's looking at the Facebook page, and he's looking at Marty's miniature. This is if you look at this, watch the Hobby Night stream from last Thursday.
Yes.
This is a creation that Jim's girlfriend, told Marty he had to do.
I looked at it when I first saw the picture and went,
so there's a lot of garish colors there. So
is that contrast paint?
Some of it's contrast paint, some of it's airbrush paint, some of it is I think we use some turbo dark paints too. So yeah, we tried to go the most obnoxious colors because it's going to be the running joke. Hey, I'm going to shoot that guy. Which guy? And I'm like, seriously, you need to ask. So
yeah, that'll be the running joke. Going to put the other one, because I think we'll do this now. Anyways, we'll put a shout out to the guys over at Rules of Engagement podcast.
Yes. Yep.
You know they've been posting up as well because they're at Adepticon.
Yeah, we're gonna meet up with them at Adepticon.
Yeah, but they've been one of the guys, Michael, has been posting up his pictures of some of the stuff he's been doing for Adepticon. And as you can see here, this is the one set of it, which is the Texas.
Yep, Texas Rangers. Looks like you got Texas Rangers. You've got Department of Public Safety, tactical teams, and Border Patrol or whatever. So yeah, it looks pretty good.
And he's got it says at the top there. So you've got Texas Ranger Border Patrol, Texas Ranger Recon, DPS, and then you've got Mexican. So the bottom ones are all the Mexicans that he's done.
Yep. Which
look really good. They really do. I listened to their third episode this week, and they were talking about this, and they said they've got some surprises and stuff. And because I've done the character sheet for the Spectre, for my Spetsnaz, and I posted up on the operations website. It's like a unit card for people who don't know. You can get it on the Spectre Operations Wargaming site as a template. They reached out, so I've sent them a copy of the base template I use so they can do some nice stuff for their gaming tables.
Nice.
Because I think they're participation games, I think they're doing.
Yes, they are.
I could be wrong.
No, they are. They're doing. They have. It's not really a tournament because Spectre doesn't like the idea of tournaments, but they are participation games.
So they're doing south of the border or the border participation games, which will be interesting for anybody wanting to see what's going on with Spectre.
Yep.
And the other thing as well, for anybody that's interested, Tabletop CP, and I don't know if you've seen these ones, G.
Yes. I haven't watched the videos, but I have seen their little posts.
Well, their videos they're doing a campaign set in a fake country, and they've been posting up the battle reports and everything, and they've got Black Site Studio terrain in there and all sorts. It was quite interesting. The third game was like a mission to basically capture an HVT, and they ended up losing an entire team. Just shows you how dangerous Spectre is. There was an entire team in a building when the HVT vehicle pulled up.
Yeah.
They got spotted somehow, and watching it. So the Op 4 got the initiative, so they lobbed a grenade into the building.
Oh.
And successfully hit the target inside the building.
Yeah.
So it was like this entire 4-man operator squad was just hurt or wounded. Just grenade straight in. Took half of the unit straight off the board.
Great.
So they ended up. So the fourth mission is the rescue that they've done of those two teams of operators. It's their like the rescue mission, so it's almost like the Alamo.
Okay.
So it's definitely worth watching. It's interesting. They've done there's a nice narrative behind it as well, which is what we've said at the beginning of it was, Spectre lends itself really well to that narrative.
Gotcha.
Narrative thing.
Excellent. All right. Well, we're coming up to almost 2 hours on this podcast. Yeah, I went fast. So any final thoughts, Ralph, before we close out the show today?
I've got nothing other than thank you to everybody who listens,
Yeah, thank you. And we appreciate our Patreon supporters and everybody else. If you have not subscribed to any of our channels, please do so. Check out our merchandise at Zazzle.com. If you thought about helping us out, every little bit counts. You can get us over at Patreon. I'll make sure I put the links in the description below. To everybody out there, we hope you have a great week of gaming. Even if you just sit down for an hour and read a book or paint a mini, all is good in the world. So until the next time, for Ralph, this is G, and we want to wish you an awesome week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.